on Facebook.
Great. Jody's going to be monitoring Facebook today. So if anyone is watching from there, you can leave questions there for us as well. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. We're so happy to see all of you here today. We must say that we miss all of you so much. Glad we can at least see you virtually if we can't see you in person. I see some new names that are visiting us today as well. So we're so happy that you found us and are able to participate today. My name is Tracy Irby. I am the Associate Director at TWU's Center for Women Entrepreneurs. For those that aren't familiar with us, the Center for Women Entrepreneurs is part of TWU's Jane Nelson Institute for Women's Leadership. The JNIWL is dedicated to preparing women to take on successful roles in business and public service to ensure women have the education to establish careers as successful C-suite executives, the skills for building entrepreneurial business, and the framework needed to run for public office. Our center specifically helps women business owners with funding through grants, professional development, such as our WomenRISE and other events that we hold, small business advising, and networking events. So we welcome all of you here today. I'm really excited about our speaker. I've known Nancy for several years. We run into each other at events all across DFW, and I knew that she would be great for this one. So Nancy St. Jacobs is a financial industries expert and has held various roles in the field of banking since 1992, with 20 years spent here in North Texas. During her career, she has worked exclusively and passionately with small business owners for 28 years. As the Community Business Development Officer and Vice President of BB&T, now Truist, Nancy has cultivated several community partnerships with organizations that promote small business owners and their efforts towards scaling and sustainability. Her passion for small business is evident as she pours inspiration and encouragement into the lives of entrepreneurs, as well as mentoring women on their journey to greatness. Nancy earned a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Southern Mississippi and studied banking and finance at the University of Washington in Seattle. Outside of work, Nancy enjoys traveling, but her greatest joy is spending time with her family. She's a mother of 2 thriving adult children and is an adoring grandmother of 2 beautiful grandsons. So Nancy, welcome. It's so nice to have you this morning.
Tracy, it's so nice to be a part of this group this morning. And I'm so excited to share some nuggets of wisdom of how I've learned to guide my clients in business along the way. Over time, you learn a lot of things and you put those things together. And again, my passion is working with business owners. And I must say, it's been a joy to work with folks here in North Texas these last 20 years I've been here. So a few things that I would like to share with you that we call why your business banker is your best partner. Your business banker to you should be like your dentist, your doctor, but most importantly, your colorist. So my colorist has been most important for me during COVID, but I can't go and see her, so I'm making the best of a bad situation. So for me, I wanted to share with you that I want you to do a few things for me this morning. If you would take a few notes about things you want to go back and talk to your business banker. Talk to them about some things that you learned, some things that might have meant something to you today that would enhance your relationship, that would really help your business and help it to grow, okay? So with that, let's talk about a few advantages of having a banking relationship, a true banking relationship, and what that should look like and what that means to have a banking relationship. What are you looking for? So to me, I've explained to folks in the past how important it was for them to really create a real relationship with their banker, because you need a guide, you need an advisor, and you need an advocate. If you think back, when you were thinking of going away to college, you talked to your advisor at school, you talked to your counselor. That person guided you in determining which school would be best, which school would really help you advance your career that you were looking to go to. And they told you about the types of classes that you would take. Even before that, they told you about things that you should do to get into the right school that you wanted to go to. Your banker should do nothing less. They should guide you according to the business that you have, providing you with the resources, the tools, the organizations, and everything else financially to help you grow that business and be successful. So access to that financial information comes through a couple of ways. Sometimes it's through educational workshops, and sometimes it's one-on-one with your banker. I take a lot of pride in that, and I know many other business bankers do as well. I've talked to so many of my friends. We work at different banks, but we all do primarily the same thing. We have I think it's like a mindset of wanting to see our clients succeed. So we pour into them, truly pour into them, all of this financial information as we gather it. And we encourage you to go to workshops that will give you more information, just like today. This is an informational workshop for you to gather information, learn how to better utilize your bank, take advantage of everything they have to offer to you, and pour that into your business. Put it in there as part of your plan. Gather as much as you can from them. And then access to helpful contacts is another that you would want to talk to your business banker about. That could be outside of the bank. It could be some other organization that specializes in what it is that you want to do, whatever line of business that you have. So sometimes that may look like a community organization. Which ones? Which ones are best for you? I wouldn't pour so much time into trying to be a part of everything and network everything, but your banker can kind of point you to the ones that they've learned through other clients that they deal with in your industry that would be best for you. And then again, some of the networking groups are very good for you. And your business banker, I have invited many of my clients to some of the networking events that I attend, because I know that they will meet other clients as well. And that commingling and cross-breeding has really enhanced my clients' businesses. So take advantage of those opportunities. Talk to each other. Even if you're in the same line of business, you guys could possibly swap clients. When you can't help them, the other person can. In banking, we do that quite often. Now, when would you want to have those types of conversations, you might ask? I have often set a time, and I do these quarterly. Talk with your banker about meeting with you quarterly. And what we do at my institution is we have something called Small Business Financial Review. I do them quarterly for established businesses, and I do them once a month or once every other month, depending upon the type of business and how strong the client is. If they are brand new in their industry, I think I should meet with them once a month to help them along the way to understand what their banking relationship should look like, what types of products and services they should be using, and things that would not be advantageous for them. I don't want them to spend a lot of money, so we review costs. So you want to talk to your banker about real things, things that are comfortable for you. And don't feel that this is an uncomfortable conversation. Make it work for you. This is your business, and we want to see you successful in it. So come in with questions. The questions that you might want to ask are things that are important to you, objectives that you want to meet. Don't feel that it's something that the banker is going to do everything for you. They are a guide. They are an advisor, they're your coach, but you also want to come in with some of the things for yourself. Come prepared with some questions. And some of those questions might look like, What's the best account for my type of business? And if I've already opened a business account, is it the best one for me? Am I saving money in this? Or am I spending too much because of the types of transactions that I'm doing? So understand this, bank accounts are built for certain types of transactions. So if you're only doing 30 transactions a month because of the type of business that you have, this is all that you need. And the other would be, is my account meeting the needs of my business? And another might be, what other banking solutions would you recommend to me, my banker? So moving on to that next slide would be the question that I'm asked most often. No matter how many years people have had accounts, they still ask me, does it really make a difference if I use my personal account for my business? And with a resounding, yes, it makes a difference. It's a huge difference for various reasons, and I'll share some of them with you. Your personal account is for your personal spending. It's for you. So Nancy can't use Nancy's personal bank account to run Nancy's flowers through that account. And I'll tell you why. You want to build a financial history for that business. When someone is looking to do some type of credit vehicle for you, whether it's a credit card, whether it's a line of credit, whether it's a loan, whatever you're looking to do, even with your merchant services, and we'll get to that, banks and other industries, they look at your transactions. And how do they do that? They'll ask you for your bank accounts. They'll ask you for your bank statements. I'm sorry. When they look at your bank statements, they're looking for something with your business name on it, not your personal name. And as they review those, they will ask you questions about that statement to say, so I noticed that you do a number of transactions by ACH. So ACH is anything that's coming into your account by automation. So it's an automated clearinghouse. If you didn't know, that's what ACH means. So those are deposits that go directly into your account, and they review those to see, is this a risk or is this something that we are willing to work with? And remember this, you might want to make a note of this. Whenever you're working with a bank, one of the things that banks and insurance companies, I should say financial institutions, because it could be credit unions as well. Financial institutions, insurance companies are built upon managing risk. So whenever you're talking with your banker, be sure to use that terminology. Ask them, is this something viable for me? Or is this something that will later be looked at down the road that would put me in a risk position, because that's not where I want to be. Risk is not bad. It's either high or low, and you want to be on that low risk end. So it's more profitable for your business. Understanding that you want to build business financial history, you also want to display financial strength and stability. So you want to show that you are managing your accounts well. With the help of your banker, you can manage them well by reducing the number of overdrafts. That can be very costly to a business. That's money spent unnecessarily. Keep an eye on that, and the easiest way to do that is through your online banking process. And some folks will say, oh, I check that from time to time. In a business, you want to keep an eye on that very closely for a couple of reasons. One could be the cost of fraud. Sometimes that can just invariably happen. The other is watching to see if things have cleared off the account so that you're not mismanaging the spending and not think that what you saw at the ATM on the receipt was your true balance. You want to manage that with your online banking process, okay? Another good point that I always explain to folks, and all of you bankers on the phone, you can attest to this, depository regulations. When folks come to make a deposit and they deposit a business check, if they want to say, just put that in my personal account. We can't deposit a business account a business check into a personal account. The reason being is that business account has its own tax ID number. Whatever that entitled account is, and that EIN number that goes with that business account, that check must go to that account. It cannot go to your personal account, and that's why the bank won't do it. We've often had clients say, well, I'll just deposit it into my personal account. It's for the business, it must go in the business. Even if it's your business, we help you make that right decision. Depository regulations tell us, and they dictate to us that this is the way that we are monitored. We are regulated as institutions, and we are audited that way. So we must follow the guidelines, and we want you to be safe. We don't want the IRS coming later to look at you and say you misused funds. So we'll help guide you along the way and educate you when you have questions. And never feel that a question is inappropriate or, oh, this is a silly question. None of those are true. If you have a question, ask your banker. They're always willing to help. I have for over all the years, because I was just as invested in that client, I think, as they were. Your banker is really invested in your client, in your company, because the more successful you are, the better they know they're doing a good job. And when it comes to merchant services, I saved this one for last. The reason I saved it for last is it is one of the things that has been a little bit of a heartbreak for me with some of my clients. They might have a food truck, a restaurant, a new clothing store, a balloon shop, flower shop. You must have merchant services. That's your payment solution. People can pay you more conveniently, even as a stylist, with your debit card and credit card. How many of you actually use cash? I'm in trouble if machines go down. Once, I'll tell you a story. I was on my way to a board meeting, and we were doing Secret Santa. Well, I was a busy gal, and I waited until the day of the board meeting to stop and get my gift to take for Secret Santa that day. And I went to get my gift card. I couldn't get a gift card. All of the machine, every place for purchasing a gift card in December, if you guys did this, you remember it. No one's machines would accept gift cards that day. You couldn't purchase one because of just the automation of the machine. It was a nightmare. And then she said, but if you have cash, I said, ma'am, I don't carry cash. I never have cash. So I would have to go to an ATM machine. But just that has become the American way. We don't carry cash. And if it were to come to that, if we couldn't use it, most merchants, most business owners would probably suffer. We want merchant services, and we want you to have the right type of merchant services. Let me explain something to you. Sometimes when you start a business, you're excited, and different folks will call you to tell you that they offer merchant services payment solutions. And they'll tell you all about how great it is to get started. It's not very costly. They're going to save you so much money. And after a while, you're looking at your statements going, oh my goodness, I'm spending a lot. They're taking quite a bit. Can you hear me? Okay, good. I was thinking I'd taken myself on and put myself on mute. So when banks and financial institutions consider offering you merchant services, the Merchant Services Division wants to see your bank statements because that speaks to your activity, your sales. They're looking at the price point of your transactions. They're looking at the number of transactions that you do per month, and they're looking at the types of transactions. What types of transactions do you do? What types of clients are you servicing? That, again, goes back to that word that I used earlier called risk, because they're wanting to partner with you, and in partnering, they want a bank, credit union. They want to make sure that they're doing the right thing by you So we must do our due diligence to protect you and say, yes, this is an appropriate product for you. This is the right time to do it. Or if it isn't, this is not the right time. However, your banker will not let you go at, we can't do this for you now. That is not a satisfactory response. You want to talk to your banker about a plan. Always have a plan. And the beautiful thing is, all of you are a part of the TWU Center for Women's Entrepreneurs. So with that, you're able to have access to Tracy, Donna Lisa, and all the other wonderful people there to help you and guide you. So when you have additional questions as it relates to your business and a plan, you want to meet with your coach, your advisor, and you also want to cover that information and that plan with your banker so that you're all a part of one team, because your banker is your partner. Truly look at that relationship as your partner, because they want to see you successful. Because the more successful you are, again, the more that they can help you, okay? So I think I want to move to the next slide. And here's a point that is dear and near to my heart. And all of us can relate to it right now, because we're in a season of COVID-19. Was that a little bit of an interruption for business owners? Yes. I have had a broken heart looking at some of my clients and those that I don't know, but they were in my community, businesses that were in my neighborhood. I've driven by, walked by, and I've seen some of them, they're closed. And sometimes in those same locations, another business has popped in there. Due to COVID-19, due to other life situations, we must plan and plan effectively. So with that, when I talk about planning effectively, as I mentioned earlier, you have access to TWU's resources. Utilize them. When you have that plan, that helps strengthen your financial status. And I'll tell you why. Let's start with navigating through rough water, okay? When your financial status is strong and your business is profitable and it's stable, that's the ideal time, isn't it, to discuss an appropriate plan, especially having a savings plan, having something set aside in the event of an emergency, because that emergency could look like anything. I mean, just could be a roof collapsing. It could be a flood in your location. It could be you had to take time off work. How well planned are you for that? So your banker is a good partner in providing some information for you to maximize whatever monies that you have in the bank. How can we be the most advantageous at maximizing your savings potential? So they look for ways to find a way to help you, because you are their biggest resource as well. Because if your banker is doing right by you, helping you grow your business, won't you give them a referral? You will send all of your family and friends to them. So your banker wants to partner with you. You're just as much of an advocate for them as they are to you. So ask them about that type of advice. Plan for your future. Plan for your business's future. There's no better time than the present. And I have to tell you, experience is an excellent teacher. I had a client last year who left her salon on a Friday night, went home. She happened to be going away for the weekend, and they were re-roofing the building. She was leasing her space from the owner of the building. They re-roofed. They were putting on the roof, redoing it, and they left for the weekend. The workers left. No one was expecting that big rainstorm that we had last year in June on Father's Day. When she came back on that Tuesday, because they were closed that Monday, her entire salon was flooded. All of her equipment was ruined. She had no roof. It had fallen in because the workers failed to cover it. So you would say, well, that's the owner's fault, and they'll cover it. They didn't right away. So because they were not able to complete that through their insurance right away, in the meantime, her salon was ineffective. She had no operations. She wasn't able to see her clients. And she had turned down an opportunity when she was prepared. It was time to do her own line of credit, to have just in case she needed some funds to continue her operations. So she did not have something that was, I called the emergency package in the event of a disaster. So we want to be planned for that. And I learned that you guys have a part of that is a part of your plan that you work with TWU in determining a plan to, it's called creating a plan. And in that, I'm sure you have some type of recovery for continuous operations. And your banker is a part of that as well. Don't ever feel that they are not there for you to help you through the rough times. Oh, definitely. Those are the times we put our heads together and we come up with a plan for you. If you're not ready for that one day, for that moment, we'll help you find some other way to meet your needs, okay? So you ask, how can my banker assist me? How can they help me? How can they help me deal with this? You'll create a financial plan as soon as possible. Even if you're a brand new business, you've been operating for probably 6 months. It isn't too soon. The time is now. You want to do that as soon as possible. In that small business financial review that I mentioned earlier, that'll be a part of it. You would love that. Talk to your banker about doing a small business financial review for your business, because it breaks everything down from how am I operating my business today? What do I have in the way of a savings, insurance for myself, insurance for my tools, insurance for my property? What do I have in the way of my checking account currently? If I don't have one and I'm operating from a personal, I need to open a business account. If I am looking at retiring at age 55, what do I need to do to get there? How do I need to structure my banking? And who might I talk to here to help me? Your banker will give you those directions of how to make your life so much easier. Give them a chance to sit down with you to make that plan and be a part of it. That plan is not to be looked at once. We take those small business financial reviews. We revisit that thing every time we see you. We'll pull it out and say, you know what, Tracy, it's time to take a look. I don't think I've seen you in a couple of months. How are we on track? Are you doing okay? Is everything working for you? And if it isn't, what do we need to tweak? Let's talk. That's the type of relationship you're looking for, okay? And if it isn't, have a conversation to say, this is what I'd like. I want to give you some empowerment today. I want you to go back, have a meeting with your banker and say, I learned a few things and I want to implement them because I really want this to be something that helps me succeed in my business. This is why I chose this particular bank, because I was told that you would help me. I'm an old-fashioned banker, you can tell. My dad ran 3 businesses simultaneously, all of my life, well, most of my life until I was an adult. He was successful because he had a very good business banker. I was a very young girl, but I remember Miss Joanne Stewart. She guided my dad through everything that he did, even encouraging him to start that second and third business. They were there for him when he thought that they wouldn't be. His banker was his biggest cheerleader. So he was successful because she told him when it was time to buy new equipment. John, you've had that equipment for quite some time. We can replace that for you now. Because banks love to do equipment loans, believe me. We have great rates on them. Doesn't matter which bank, but you will do quite well. So if you have any type of business that you're looking for something to, in the way of, let's just pretend you are a salon and you said, well, I want new sinks. I want new chairs. Talk to your banker about that. If they said, this is how we structure this, take good notes. Talk about it, think about it, make a plan, make it happen. They're there for you. So moving on, I want to continue this navigating rough waters and utilizing calm seas. So we talked a little bit about making that plan so that you can navigate through rough waters. So let's just say you are utilizing those calm seas. And to me, that looks like when times are good, take advantage of it. That's the time to really stockpile your savings. That's the time when your credit's looking good, you want to go ahead and establish that credit card or line of credit or whatever it is that you qualify for. Please take advantage of it. And I say that with so much heart because of the lady who had the salon, and it was all flooded and ruined and all of her equipment. And when she was prepared and she was qualified to do that line of credit and she chose not to, she was no longer qualified for it once her equipment was ruined in her salon. So she was able to get something, but not what she could have gotten in the beginning. And it wasn't enough to replace everything. And you say, well, she had insurance, it would cover it. Her insurance wouldn't cover it because it did not happen because of something that her salon did. It was something that happened in the building where she was. So insurance is a little bit tricky. So be sure that you are reading through that with the person who helped you with it, okay? And have that plan, again, partnering with all of your partners. But remember, your banker is your best partner. So when those times are good and you're profitable, you're flourishing, and I told you that's the time that I want you to start your savings. That's when it's very possible. Stockpile those funds, put it away. As they say, you want to save for a rainy day? It's true. As a banker, I've seen it a lot. And I want to help you understand what it means to utilize every part of your banking relationship. Ask as many questions as you want. Ask about how to save and what's best for you and your type of business. And discuss opportunities to build your credit. Do not be ashamed and held bound if you feel as though your credit score is you. It is not. Your credit score does not determine your worth. Your credit score is not attached to your self-worth. I'm going to say it one more time. Your credit score is not who you are. It's a part of your business or your personal financial view. So what your banker can help you do is make those corrections. If it isn't where you want it to be, don't hide behind it and ignore it and pretend that it'll go away, because it will not. It will follow you forever, and it will hold you back if you don't face it and say, let's do something about it, and let's do something about it today. Let's create a plan. I've done this more times than I care to even think about, because I wanted my clients to know they meant so much to me. I wanted them to be successful, and they were going to need this as a resource to help their business be successful. So we came up with a plan to say, let's talk about paying these things off and watch your score increase. And that's what it took. So we didn't do that alone. Sometimes it may take some other avenues to go that way, but we do what we need to do to be successful. And I want your businesses to be so successful that you'll never forget how you started, where you were, and how you climbed to reach the goals that you had for your business when you started it. So let's move on to, there's a crisis. It's inevitable. We didn't see the pandemic coming, did we? I never thought that I'd be working from home, but here I am. So how do we pivot? I'll tell you a little story. When we first decided that we'd work from home, I kept thinking, I just gave away my office desk. I gave away all of those things. What do I do? This is going to be hard. Will I focus? I don't want interruptions. I won't get to see my clients face to face. But guess what? What I did was sit down and think about it a different way, because I was unplanned. I never planned to do this. It was unexpected. So many business owners had the exact same situation. So I've asked a few. I've talked to quite a few business owners since the pandemic. That first month, I simply sat down and called a long list of clients, pages of my clients, and talked to them and said, how are you doing? That is what you want your banker to do. You don't want to sit there at your business going, oh my gosh, I am having a crisis and I'm in this crisis alone, but you're not. You have partners. You have many partners. Utilize those relationships. Relationships are the most important thing in the world for a business owner. Your banking relationship is probably I would say, is your most important relationship. Use it. Utilize that relationship and never feel that you're being an imposition. That is the only reason we exist, is for you. We have jobs because we're there to assist our business owners and our consumer clients. So when you want to pivot, go back and think, let's take a look at my business plan. What in my business plan addresses, if things go wrong, do I have a continuity plan? Do I have, I call it the escape clause. How do I turn this around? What do I need to do? Your business plan should have that in it. Take that business plan to your banker. Ask them to review it with you for financial things. What part of that business plan is related to your banking relationship? Most of it. I would say probably half of it, because half of it is talking about financials. So that portion, you want to be realistic, because that you take that business plan and your business is growing. If it isn't matching the growth of your business, then you need to revisit the business plan and rewrite it, because now your business is at a different level. You started as a primary business, like a startup. Then you became an intermediate business. You're operating, you're doing pretty well. You know, wheels are turning, business is churning, you're feeling good about it, and you're profitable. Your business plan needs to match that so that things are realistic. Because if you apply for a loan at a bank, they want to see the business plan, especially if you are a business that's under 2 years old. The way that you are given funds is through your business plan, because they needed to see that the business plan is realistic. And I know that you've covered all of this in your classes at TWU, but I wanted to just revisit how we review that. As a financial institution, we look at the financial portion of the business plan to say it does or does not look like your statements. It does or does not look like your financial statements, okay? And have a plan to pay for expenses if you continue to operate through a crisis. So if your business is continuing to operate through a crisis, look at your expenses. They may be a little higher than your profitability. And that's what a lot of business owners mentioned to me during this pandemic. They're continuing to operate, but their intake, the income has not been what it was before. So they're spending quite a bit to continue operating, but it's becoming more than what they're bringing in. So we've talked about how to leverage that, how to level it off. Now, partnering with your banker to discuss your next steps to apply for available emergency fund. One of the things that we did at the beginning of the pandemic, when the Congress came out and said that we will give funds to those who are looking to apply for PPP funds, a PPP loan, most of those clients were calling us as bankers. And they wanted to know what's happening with the PPP loans and will I qualify? We helped them with those emergency funds. We did loans almost 24 hours a day. We worked in shifts to make sure that those were done because we care about our clients. Every financial institution was on the same plan. We all were working hard to help small business owners. And believe me, many people receive funds, even though in the news you would hear the odd stories about some large businesses that would receive and they would say, but small businesses did not. Many small businesses did, and we made sure of it. At BB&T, now Truist, at Wells, at Bank of America, at Chase, I have many friends, and we all worked hard for our small business owners. So with that, you're partnering with your bank because you're in a position that is not a part of your business. Your business is what you do. Banking is what your banker does. That's what they know well. So go to them, ask them for help, ask for assistance. And when you talk about those emergency funds, ask for help in understanding what you need to do to be able to qualify for those funds. Even if it comes around again, you will see that it's through the government, it's SBA and all types of things. You'll have several different organizations in the community who will have workshops online. Everyone will do a workshop. Different organizations like the SBDCs, you'll have various chambers, you'll have other outside organizations that will talk about PPP, or they'll call them emergency funds to continue your operations. Listen to them. They're very good. Many of us bankers are the ones who are conducting those for them. They'll invite us to talk about the small points and the small print, how to apply, what you should do, what does not qualify, and come prepared to listen and take lots of notes. But as a banker and as a 28-year veteran banker, relationship will make or break your banking process. Your business depends on relationships, not just the ones you have with your clients, but the ones that you have with your partners. And again, I say that your business banker is your top priority partner, and make good use of it, utilize it, have them work for you, because that's why we're in business. We're there to help business owners grow. And with that, I want to remind you of something that has always been near and dear to me. I call it the 3 R's, and I talk about it often. I have it in my office for business owners. And we laugh, we chuckle about it, because when someone's about to jump off the ledge, I always have to talk them off the ledge and say, no, your business is fine. You're going to do well. You have me, you have your CPA, you have your other counselors and advisors. We're not going to let you walk away from this business, not now. You've worked too hard to get here. So remember why you created that business. Think back to the passion that drew you there. Rebuild if necessary, because sometimes the market changes. We've seen that happen a couple of times, before the pandemic. We saw it happen after 9/11. I saw it again in 2008, 2009, and then we just saw it with the pandemic. That's why it's so important to have a plan, have reserves set up for yourself. Even when you say, but I don't make a lot of money. If you made $1, save a dime. Save a dime. Always put something aside for a rainy day for your business. It's the most important thing I can tell you. And the other is renew. Renew your business plan for continuity if you need to. You want to have something that's renewed, because if that business is growing, congratulations. And you want to renew it. You want to build upon it. You want to put the changes in that are necessary, because as the business grows, your plan should grow, and so should you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy I was able to talk with you today. And I really hope that you found something valuable, a couple of nuggets out of this conversation this morning. And I'm open to any questions that you might have. And whatever you have to ask of me, I hope I have an answer for it.
Great, Nancy, thank you so much. That was such great information. Again, I always try to stress how important a relationship is with a banker. And I know personally how well that has worked for me to have one in a relationship, that you can call them just for just about anything when they know you and your credit and that relationship that you have with them. And again, I'm glad you stressed on that about the PPP and the other things as well, because we had people here that did not have a relationship with a banker, and that was really crucial during that time as well. So again, we were so happy you were here. I'm going to turn this over to Donna Lisa that is taking questions. And again, thank you. We're so glad you were here. Donna Lisa, I'll turn it over to you now.
Thank you. So Nancy, thank you so much for being here. I have a couple of questions and I tried to put there in the chat. If anybody else has questions, please just send them to me in the private chat and I'll get them to Nancy. So the first one is, when we talk about walking into the bank and opening up a business account, what do we need to be able to do that?
You would want to have whatever documentation you have according to your business. So if you are a startup business and you've also registered with the state of Texas to be an LLC, that is a limited liability company, you want to have that documentation with you. You also want to have the tax ID number for that business, and you also want to have your own information. So we need to see a valid driver's license or state ID, as well as your social security number and a physical address for the business. Those are the things that the bank is looking for.
Great, thank you so much. So then now here's another question. So, I mean, what are we looking for when we go out as a small business in a banker? What are some things that we should be looking for?
Very good question, and thank you for asking that. That is a question that I have stood on my soapbox and talked to folks in the past about and said, you want that banker to know that they are working for you. Without you as a client, we don't have jobs. So you're looking for someone who has a vested interest in your business, someone who is really interested in you. So what you're looking for when you walk into a bank and you ask to speak to someone about opening your business account, you're not ready today, but you just like to ask a few questions, come prepared with your questions. Come prepared with the questions that you want answered. If that person has a genuine interest in you, they'll answer your questions happily, and they'll provide additional information to you without it sounding as though it's you ask a question, they answer. They should ask you a few questions. That's what it should look like.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And that was from Marcia Dunn, I believe, through Facebook. So thanks for watching on there. Our next question is from Carrie. And when you talked about, having an emergency fund, she wanted to know how much money a business should have in an emergency fund. She wasn't sure if it was much like an individual, like 3 to 6 months. So can you share that, Nancy?
Thank you so much for that question. That is a perfect question. And I failed to mention that, and thank you for saying it. You said as though in a personal account, you want to see 3 to 6 months of whatever your expenses normally would be. We always tell our business owners the exact same thing. What you operate on a weekly, monthly basis, however you calculate your expenses, you want to have that out for 3 to 6 months. And I always tell folks, make sure you have 6 months of expenses, because after 9/11, that's what happened to so many folks. They were satisfied with having a couple of months of savings aside, and that didn't work for them. So I would say 3 to 6 months, but my favorite is 6 months if you can. 3 months is good. Very good question.
Yeah, but we have a lot of great viewers and we have a great community here. So, our next question is, I think it's from Sharon. So I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. Her business account is currently at a credit union. When should she move it to a bank?
Credit unions, that's a good question, because a lot of folks don't realize that credit unions are not able to do certain types of business lending. That is not their specialty. And they will tell you that. They'll send you to a bank or recommend that you go to a bank for certain types of lending products for a business. They are member driven. Credit unions basically focus on the members who are individuals, not businesses. So they are not able to do a lot of the things that we can do for a business in helping it grow, such as a credit product. If you're looking to purchase a building, purchase equipment, or just do a credit card or a loan, you want to come to a bank. If you choose to have a credit union relationship, I would say keep that, don't leave it, but you do want to have a banking relationship, most definitely, sooner rather than later, because you want to start building on that relationship. You want to start having some history there. So if you say, oops, I'm in need of buying a new van for my bakery. Well, the day you need that van and you need that loan from a bank, it's probably too late to just go there and start if you're looking to have built up a relationship with them to do it.
Thank you. So Andrea had a question. She said, in terms of the physical address of a business, is it okay to have the home address if it is a home-based office, or is this not recommended?
That is absolutely perfect. I love that question. Yes, you most certainly can use your home address because that is a home-based business. We must see a physical address. I stress that because a P.O. box or any other mailing address, such as some of the UPS boxes that have it has like an address, but the system identifies that that is not a physical building address that's dedicated to your business. So that is the reason why I say a physical address, and your home address is perfectly fine for a home-based business.
Great. And so we've had this question a couple of times. Is it better to choose a national or a local bank? And especially when we're talking about in terms of like emergency issues.
Very good. I like it. We have that. I've had to explain this to folks sometimes because they will say, well, I wanted to go to a local bank, or I wanted to go to a smaller bank because I felt that they would have more of a relationship with me. I feel that I have more attention paid to me. Here's the thing with that. Everyone wants to have relationships with folks these days. Your bank is graded on whether or not you have done a good job with your clients. There are surveys that go out from all of these banks, larger national banks that are across the nation, as well as smaller banks, because we're evaluated that way. If a bank isn't growing their deposits based upon how many clients they're attracting, that is not good. They're losing out. So they will do exactly at larger banks what local banks will do. Those bankers will try to develop the best relationship with you. You will get all of the attention that you thought you would get at a smaller bank, but the larger bank is able to offer more resources, more tools, more services at that larger bank for you than the smaller bank can. Number one would be that online banking platform. That has come to be the number one thing that banks are competing over, is whose online banking platform is the friendliest and the best to use and has more of the things that mean something to the clients who use it. So to answer your question, I would say that your larger banks have more access. You have more access to them and more access to things that would help you grow your business. Much more so.
So would you say that that would fall back to, you know, really kind of identifying, you know, what banker best suits, you know, it's interviewing the bank and the banker and who's going to serve you and your business needs the best, right?
Precisely. And you have to do your homework.
Yeah.
Interview them. Interview banks. I've had people interview me many times. I've had folks come in over the years to say, well, I'm just shopping. I'm not looking to open an account today or do anything. I just want to check out a few banks. And you should do that. Definitely.
Perfect.
Great question.
So we have one more question. So this is from Sharon again. She said, once the business account is opened at a bank, she was our bank versus credit union. And I keep the credit union. Should I move the income account and the operations account to the bank and leave the profit, tax, and owner's comp account at the credit union?
And that's all up to the individual. That's a good plan if you choose to do that. You might would say, I like how things are handled at the credit union. They're doing a great job for me there on those particular accounts. However, I need a larger bank to help me with my operating account, my payroll account, my income account. I need those at the larger bank. I need the resources and the tools that you guys have over there. But I don't do as much activity from those other accounts, so I'm leaving those at the credit union. That's a good plan. I would say that would be perfectly fine, Sharon.
And then from Mary Ann, I thought this question was good. So if your banker moves to a new bank, should you follow your banker?
I'm going to tell you, yes. I'm only I'm saying that because I've had many clients follow me from bank to bank to bank. And I didn't move a lot. It's just that when I moved from a bank that I'd been at for 22 years, I had almost an entire book of clients follow me. Because remember what we're talking about today? It's all about relationship. When you've built a strong relationship with someone, you trust them. And it's all based upon trust. Because as we say, people don't do business with institutions. They do business with a person. So you were not loyal to just that bank. You were loyal to the work that that person could do for you if they moved to an institution that was able to accommodate your business, not a small place that it's really not going to work for your business. It just has to make sense for you and be viable for your business. That was a great question.
Perfect. All right, last question. Honestly, last question. This is from Alice. Is it better to have a business account the same place as a personal account, or is it better to use a different one?
That's a good question too, because we've been asked that question for many, many years. You can have them both at the same place. And I always recommend have both your personal and your business at the same location. That's relationship building. The bank can see your loyalty. That was on my notes too. I meant to mention that to you guys earlier. The bank sees that this person is invested in that institution. They are trusting that institution, and they are putting all of their trust in you, Mr. Bank. Now, what can you do for them? So the bank looks at that and measures it, that you are a very loyal client. What can we do to help you to leverage your relationship? And that's what banking is all about, leveraging the relationship. Yes, have both the personal and the business at the same location. And no one is going to take money from your business account to offset something in your personal because they have two different tax ID numbers.
Perfect. Nancy, thank you so much again for sharing with us today. I know we've talked about this a lot in the office. This is, I think, something as women that oftentimes we don't want to, I don't know, we just don't want to talk about money. We don't want to talk about the bank. But as entrepreneurs, a lot of times as head of households and spenders and all of that, it's super important for us to know these things and really how to put our best business foot forward and finding that bank that represents us and the kind of business that we want to do. And so thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we have a few housekeeping items. So next month, September the 8th, we're doing small business crisis management planning. And I know Nancy mentioned that inside of her talk today about having a plan for, what's going to happen if you are in a pandemic, you have to shut your business down. You've got to have a contingency plan for that. We are locking in the speaker, but registration is open for that. So you can go ahead to Eventbrite and sign up for that. And then lastly, so we, as we've been going along, we're getting more proficient with Zoom. So we actually have a poll that we want you guys to take. So I'm going to put it up here. And feel free to take it. We'll stay on long enough for everybody to be able to do it. And I believe that's it. Thank you guys so much for coming. Tracy, did you have any last minute?
Well, I just want to thank everyone again for being here today. And Nancy, that was wonderful. Just a reminder though, she talked quite a bit about business plans, and we can also help you with that at the center. So if anyone's interested, just reach out for that. But again, Nancy, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy. It was such a pleasure to be here. It was an honor, total honor. And I hope to see you soon.
Sounds good. Everyone have a great day.
Thank you.
Feel free to take the poll. I'm going to stay on here long enough to get you, for you guys to have a chance to take it. So thank you in advance for doing it and sharing us your feedback. Appreciate it.
Somos ricos. Nosotros tenemos muchos ustedes. Tenemos mucha salud, mucho amor, una familia muy bonita.
tenemos el dinero que necesitamos para vivir tranquilos. Eso es lo importante en la vida.
Acabo de decir, es de ricos de plata que tengamos mucha comida.
Nosotros tenemos comida y tenemos todo lo que necesitamos. Si queremos viajar, podemos ir a viajar. Entonces, lo importante para poder hacer eso es trabajar, ahorrar y también tener un buen balance entre el trabajo y la vida. Porque si no solo trabaja y acumula plata en el banco, estamos poco.
Donna Lisa, you have a question about where to find the survey?
It should be on, if they're on their phone, or listening to it audio wise, I don't think they're going to have access to it.
Okay, otherwise, I know I see it at the bottom of my screen by the chat box.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has popped up as well.
Thank you guys. Y'all have a great day.
Oh, thank you, Carrie.
Bye, Carrie. Thank you.
Always
Yes,
good to see you.
you too.
Well, hi, Judy. Nice to see you here. Thank you, everyone. Eureka, it was nice that you were able to attend as well today. Hi, Adam.
All right, I'm going to give it about 30 more seconds and then we're going to go ahead and end the poll.
Hi, Tracy. Good job, everybody.
Oh, thank you. This is always one of the things I always stress, how important that banking relationship is.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you're talking about expanding your business and getting that good advice about
All right, we're going to go
the best
ahead
products.
and poll.
Yeah,
Bye,
I get
bye
it.
everybody.
Bye, Adam. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, have a good day.
You too. Bye, Donna Lisa. See you in a little bit.
I can share these with you right now, I think.
Okay, great. I was able to see some of them. Did you have me as a co-host?
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yes.
Creating and launching an online course. There's actually a person at Stoke that I saw we could reach out. Oh, look at that. Love that.
Right. I like that too for a Saturday half-day workshop.
Yeah.
That is a huge number.
And I'm not surprised about this at all.
Yeah.
That last question at all.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I should be able to pull that poll when I, but you know what, just because.
Screenshot. whatever works. Because I know too, a lot of this stuff you're supposed to be able to, and you can also save the chat box, but that comes with the video, right?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. You can save the chat box. I'm not sure if it's that ... or that file. It may be where it says file. I'll save it to my Google Drive.
All right.
All right, I will see you in a little bit. And it's like, oh, I better remember to bring some lunch or something.
I know. I have mine already kind of packed. So, all right, I'll see you in a bit.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.